What's up everybody, it's Demo from NextEv and welcome to a game called DeadPoly. And as the subtitle implies, this game is a zombie survival game. What you'll be looking at here is at least the first 4 or so hours of gameplay, starting with the tutorial. I couldn't get any background music to work if there is any yet in this build, so I added some creepy music myself. Seeing this game is in early access, we will not be giving it any sort of official score after talking about it. We will wait till an official release. And disclaimer, I was given a key by the developer to play this and talk about it and make a video, so thank you so very much. And without any more of this intro, let's get right into it. Starting things off, we dove right into the tutorial. F is your main button to interact and pick stuff up. If you walk up to an item, you can scroll to select the action you want to do when you press F. Tab for menu. Goo is bad. Zombies are bad. The crafting menu does take some time getting used to because you have to take your crafting items and put them in the separate inventory of the crafting bench before you're able to craft an item. But once you're used to it, it's very intuitive and it saves a lot of space on your backpack. There was also a healing tutorial and a tutorial about using guns. Sadly though, the gun one was the only one I couldn't figure out. I don't know if it was broken or unclear how it worked, but I eventually figured that out later in the main game just by messing with stuff. So after all that, let's jump into the actual game's open world. Right now, the game only has one map, that is the city map, and we will be heading into it in single player to see how our days go. We started off spawning on some random beach and I decided to take a look around. After searching through my first pile of trash, I was suddenly attacked. Once I escaped narrowly with my life, I used my MLG skills to break out the frying pan and kill. Sadly, some of these zombies took more hits than others. After searching a few of these zombies, I found myself an armored vest. I continued to run around, loot trash, and kill zombies, and eventually I had a pretty nice inventory going on. But all good things can't last forever. I let my guard down searching through a trash bin and was tragically killed. So I had two choices: respawn randomly or at a base. I didn't know I had a base, so I went there. It turns out, if you don't have a base and you respawn at a base, you still respawn randomly, but I was none the wiser. So I figured this trailer park was my home, and I decided to conquer it as the home it is. So I started looting the area, and eventually I found a fire axe. And in a survival game such as this, there's only one thing you can do with a fire axe: hit everything. After taking down my first tree, I found a housewarming gift in the form of a desk lamp. And I also found a gun. And on the body after that, I found a storage crate, which I had absolutely no room for. I continued to hit some trees for extra wood until I found out that you can use the fire axe to hit rusted cars for metal. You can hit these cars until they turn silver, indicating that they have nothing left to offer. I went around hitting more things to figure out what was obtainable. And after abusing this trailer, I realized this is now my new home. So I opened my inventory and claimed this base as my own by setting down my desk lamp. I figured out you could spin the merry-go-round. I love dumb little features like this that really don't do anything, but it's nice. More looting, more hitting. I finally decided to make my first crafting bench. And after that, some bandages. As of this update right now, you can make as many bandages as you want, but I decided not to do that and to go scavenging for some rather than abuse the system that is currently given to us for a more realistic survival experience. So I set my crafting bench down and tried to figure out what to do next. I found a box of storage that I could put stuff in, so that was pretty nice. We just plopped that down. Searching random trash, I ended up finding a military backpack, so that was awesome. Found a random house with a staircase that said bug on it, so I assume the bug is that the staircase, you can only get up it if you jump, and I'm guessing that's a developer's note. And really, it's all a whole gameplay loop like that. Gather, kill, craft, gather, kill, craft. And no real developments until I got home later that day, where I had beautifully taken up my lamp, put up a new shelf, and set it upon it. Eventually, I found a table and a zombie, and I gotta say, my favorite part about this game so far is building your own base. You don't really have walls or a foundation. You kind of just gather items and decorate an already abandoned space. And you'll definitely see more of that later in this video when I move. I needed to expand my storage eventually, so I ended up building a cupboard. It's nice. Finally, I ended up building a door and then started to notice the sun go down. And I'll tell you now, when this game gets dark, it gets dark. So I decided to chill out for the rest of the night and wait for sunrise. When it was any bit of bright, I decided to head outside and start my day. Without making this video too repetitive, I will only really be mentioning anything new that happens in the day without going I killed a zombie or I gathered an item. I wandered around a bit to explore, and I found some sort of quarantine camp with some dead in it. I had eventually returned home with a nice assortment of items, a lot of extra shelves, some plants, a few sunglasses. Eventually, I made an anvil for metalworking and a press to make bullets, even though I didn't know how to make bullets. My next step was a mortar and pestle, seeing as that would probably give me the gunpowder I need to make said ammo. The only issue I had so far was I didn't know how to get rocks. I tried getting rocks with the fire axe, and that did not make any results. Thankfully though, being in the Discord, I seen somebody mention a pickaxe, so I assume that's what we need next. Eventually, I ended up finding one, only to realize a few days later, in real life, that you don't need a pickaxe necessarily to mine rocks. So I mined, I got some rocks, I went home, and then I decided eventually that I'm gonna try to use a gun. And with my lack of knowledge of how to use it, ended up getting myself killed. I respawned, went back for my items, figured out how to use a gun, only to learn that shooting a gun draws in a bunch of zombies. Rinse and repeat, went scavenging for items, it got dark, I went home. It was on day 3 when I realized my base is starting to get a little bit cluttered, so I went out in search of a new one. I found this really cool church with a piano inside, but then I realized there's a big hole right into the back wall, and half the building is destroyed. Also, I lost most of my health fighting a zombie in here, so I just claimed this place to be a bad omen and moved on. I did find this really cool looking gas station and figured if I could board up the windows that I could probably make it work, but then I died, so I figured this was a bad omen and I moved on. Ran to the gas station, got my items back, and continued the search. Then I realized there's a really sweet middle ground in between the gas station and the church where I found my new base. I planted a base flag down, and once that was done, the move began. With carrying weight limits and only a certain amount of backpack space, I could only carry so much at a time, so the move took me, I would say, about a day and a half. And after that, I spent my time putting things into place and building up my new base. And at the end of it, I gotta say the base came out pretty good, and this is where I left off. This was quite a few hours into this game. In the coming days, I was still learning things, still figuring out mechanics. And all in all, it's a pretty fun game. I mainly played the single player, but I did jump on to multiplayer and it wasn't that bad. Just, you know, think of something like Rust or DayZ, where everybody is normally out just for themselves. There are custom servers made, there's an official server, and I really like this game. I thought it was a ton of fun. I recommend you go checking it out, supporting dev. One guy made this game, so, you know, that's a ton of work. But yeah, this game is DeadPoly, and if I didn't do the disclaimer before at the beginning of the video, this code was given to me by the developer to try out the game. So, thank you so much, Cameron. Down in the link in the description is where you can check it out, see it for yourself. The multiplayer is just like the single player, except with more people, obviously. You can do co-op games, you can invite your friends to your own private server that you run and just play with whatever. I find it to be a great game. I can't wait till more features come out. I'll probably cover it more as it comes out. And when the final game is released, I'm down. I'm there for it. It's a great time. That's it. I will talk to you guys later. This has been Demo from NextEv. This has been DeadPoly in early access on Steam. And bye-bye.